everybody. I just wanted to share with you the best and worst foundations in two categories. The first category is light to medium coverage, and then the second category is full coverage. So I do have reviews on 6 of these foundations, and those reviews will be linked below in case you haven't seen them. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first foundation from the light to medium category is the Revlon Photoready Instafix foundation. It's in a stick form. I like this. I have, like I said, I have a full review on it, so you'll be able to see the pros and cons of it. The shade I have it in is number 160, medium beige. I like this. I don't love it. This one is more in the, it's buildable. You can have it be particularly light, or you can have it be about medium coverage. Okay, the next one from still the light category is the Revlon Nearly Naked foundation. This is a liquid foundation. My shade is number 180, medium beige. This one I don't have a review on, so if you would like me to do a review on any of the foundations that I don't already have a review on, leave comments down below telling me if you want me to do them or not. So this foundation I actually do like because it does have that light feel. It feels like you're not wearing a whole lot, but once again, it is buildable coverage to the point where it can appear very, very light, or you can build it up to where it's medium coverage. The one thing about this though, especially if you're oily skinned like I am, this does produce a lot of oil very quickly, at least in my experience with this, so that's one turn off to this. The other thing is it does not have a pump, so the cap just twists off and you have this, right? I don't like that. I prefer a pump just because you can control the amount that comes out with a pump. Even like a squeeze tube, you can control the amount. If it's just one that's a pour cap, it's way too messy. So that's another thing that I don't really like about this foundation. The Neutrogena Visibly Even BB Cream. My shade is light to medium is what it says. This has an SPF of 30 in it. I do like this. This one I do have a review on. This one again has that very light feel. You can build this up to be medium coverage, although you have to pack on quite a lot. I do remember that about this foundation. You have to put a lot of layers to really have it be medium coverage. So I would say it's more so in the light, probably lightest category as far as coverage goes. But it is really nice in the summer, especially if you have oily skin. I really do like this just because it's light. I don't really remember being overly oily very quickly, which is actually very nice. So overall, I do like this foundation. I just think that the coverage isn't great. You do have to use a concealer with this just because it does have the lightest amount of coverage possible, in my opinion. So I feel like I do have to use a concealer to spot conceal blemishes or hyperpigmentation. So that is one thing with this foundation. As is the case with the Revlon Nearly Naked. That one I do feel like I have to use a spot concealer. The Revlon Photoready, not so much. That one I feel like is a thicker consistency to where I can get away with not having to use a concealer, which I think is really nice. So anyway, in regard to this particular foundation, I do like it. I just think that the coverage is a little bit on the lesser end as far as giving really good coverage. Now this product, this is the Shea Bella Tinted Moisturizer. My shade is the color Fawn. This foundation it's like the Revlon Instafix in the fact that it's a little bit of a thicker consistency, so you want to be really careful because this one, especially if you apply too much, it can look cakey. The one thing I do like about this though is it has it's a squeeze tube, which I do like. So this one I don't have a review on, so if you want to see a review on it, leave comments down below. I honestly haven't worn this in a really long time, but this has SPF of 20. This foundation, if I'm remembering correctly, because it's again that thicker consistency, I don't feel like I have to have a spot concealer on. If you want this to be medium coverage, it can be. It's another one of those foundations that's buildable, but in saying that, you do want to be careful with how much you apply, just because it can look a bit cakey if you're not careful. So but in regards to the coverage, I do feel like this is most certainly a medium coverage. It can be applied to be a light coverage foundation, which I do like because it has that versatility. But I would more so say it's on the medium coverage side. As far as longevity, I feel like this gives me a fairly good amount of time throughout the day before I feel like I'm starting to get oily, which I do like. Although in the summertime, I used to wear this a lot in the summer, but I feel like this is maybe a little bit too thick for the summer. So this would more so be one of those that I would wear in like spring, fall, and winter. This last one in this light to medium category is the foundation I'm wearing today, and it is the Rimmel BB Cream, and my shade is medium. I do really like this foundation. I really like it for the summer months. My skin, once again, is oily. This foundation I feel like keeps the oil a little bit at bay, more so than some of the other foundations I mentioned. This is I would say it's more so a medium coverage BB cream, which is not traditional for a BB cream. BB creams are supposed to be very light, but this I feel like, again, has that tendency to either be applied light or it can be built up to be medium. I feel like this stays on as far as longevity before I start to get oily. I feel like I can get at least 6 to 8 hours. I have worn this longer, but I've needed to touch up throughout the day. So I do like that about this foundation. The coverage wise, again, I feel like it's more so a medium coverage, which I do like. I do feel like it's a little bit of a thicker consistency. It's kind of in between being kind of thin and getting to the thick side. It's not like super thick, but it is a little bit thicker, which I do appreciate in a foundation. That was it for the light to medium coverage category. So now we're moving on to the full coverage category. So I'm going to start with one that I actually have a review on. And this first one is the Rimmel Stay Matte Full Coverage Foundation. My shade is number 201 Classic Beige. I really like this foundation. This consistency is pretty thick. It's a liquid mousse, so kind of think of mousse, and it's thick. So which I like, because once again, I don't have to use a concealer. I feel like this is a great foundation if you have oily skin. This, I feel like, keeps me staying matte for a really long time. I've worn this, I think the longest I've worn it is about 11 to 12 hours, and it maybe has a little bit of oil come through, but not a lot, which I do really like. Now, is it appropriate for the summer? In my opinion, no, because it's a little bit too thick, especially when you're living where I am and it's 108. So I feel like this is just a little bit too much for the summer. So I would more so use this in the spring, fall, and winter months. And I think I say this in the review. I don't recommend this at all for dry skin, just because I have had some small dry patches on my skin when I've worn this, and it accentuates that a lot. So if you have exceptionally dry skin, I would steer clear of this. The next one, I just recently did a review on this, although it's not totally solely on this product. It was the whole kit itself, but you'll kind of get the idea when I talk about it. So this is the Tarte, what is the exact name? Amazonian Clay Smoothing Balm. My shade is medium. This came in a QVC Today's Special Value kit. I believe the kit was called Back to Basics. You can still get this kit. I know if you've seen that review, I said that about 1,000 times, but if you haven't seen the video on this kit, you can still get this kit. It is obviously not available at the Today's Special Value price anymore, but you can still get it. So I will leave the link down below to the QVC site where you can purchase it. I love this foundation. Oh my goodness. It is a cream, although it's thick, which I do really like. Because I don't have to use a spot concealer with this. I feel like this keeps me matte a really long time. I think the longest I wore this was 12 hours, and I was still with hardly any shine. Now, of course, it depends on what I'm doing. As with any of these foundations, it depends on what you're doing as to the amount of hours that you can go without producing any oil. So, but this holds up wonderfully underneath hot stage lights. Yeah, it's amazing. I love this. This is a contender with the Rimmel Stay Matte, honestly. I love this so much. The coverage is definitely full. Again, as with the Stay Matte, be careful with how much you apply, because this can look cakey. I made that mistake a few weeks ago, and it wasn't pretty. So just be careful. But I do really like this. This actually will last you a pretty long time. As you can see, I have a pretty big dent in it, and I still haven't hit pan on it. So, and I wore this a lot. It's amazing. So highly, highly suggest you try this out. The Laura Geller Baked Liquid Radiance Foundation. I do have a review on this one as well. My shade is medium. First of all, I love the fact that this has a pump. It's awesome. Coverage for this foundation, I would say I put it in the full category because I feel like it can be brought up to full, but I also feel like it can go in the medium category. I feel like it doesn't go light, I don't think. I feel like it's between medium and full coverage. This one looks amazing on the skin. It just kind of, to me it doesn't look like you're wearing foundation, honestly. It just kind of soaks into your skin and looks like your natural skin, which is what I really, really like. As far as longevity throughout the day, that is kind of where I feel like this maybe stumbles a little bit. I feel like I can get about 6 hours of really good wear before I have to touch up. So that's one downside that I don't appreciate, but I can get over that with everything else that's going for it. So next is another Tarte foundation, and it is the Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Full Coverage Foundation. My shade is medium. This does have a SPF of 15 in it. This is most definitely full coverage, no doubt about it. Just like the Stay Matte, be careful with how much you apply because this can look very cakey. That's happened to me before. It is a squeeze tube, which I do appreciate. The consistency of this foundation, I feel like kind of is between Stay Matte and the Laura Geller foundation. It's not super thick, but it's on the thicker side, so it's kind of in between those two. But having said that, it's nice because you don't have to, at least I don't feel like I have to use a spot concealer, so that's the nice thing about it. Longevity wise, it says 12-hour coverage. I don't know that it lives up to that claim, honestly. Again, it depends on what you do, but I feel like I can get at least maybe 8 hours, 8 to 10 if I really stretch it. I don't know that it keeps me, because the key is I want to be kept completely matte for 12 hours. I don't know that it does that. I feel like I can get at least 8 hours of pretty good wear before I have to really touch up. The last foundation is a mineral foundation. It is the Bare Minerals Original. It has SPF of 15. My shade is N20 Medium Beige. I like this foundation. For me, I feel like my mom says for some reason that she thinks that mineral and powder foundations look the best on my skin. And I would agree with her just because this, I don't feel like I go instantly to oily after, say, 10 hours of wear. I feel like it still holds up fairly well. But this you have to be extremely careful with applying too much, because if you do, it looks cakey and you actually feel like you have something on your skin. Whereas this foundation is supposed to be light and feel like you have nothing on your skin. So I do like this. I don't love it though. The longevity, I would say 6 to 8 for me, honestly, going day to day. Consistency wise, I don't have much to say because it's a powder, but I don't feel like I have to use a concealer with this. So it is, I would say, I would say it's full coverage, but I also would put it in the medium category as well. So I feel like it could be kind of built up, but again, be cautious because it can look cakey if you apply too much. So I feel like it's more so in the medium category for coverage. That is it actually for this video. I feel like I've talked a lot. I hope this was helpful for you. For those of you that are looking for a foundation and you wanted to know from me what I prefer, and for me and my skin, you know, which one I think is the best. So depending on what you like and all that kind of stuff. So I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching. If I had to pick a favorite out of these groupings, I'm gonna go from each category. So from the light category, I would definitely say the Rimmel BB Cream. From the full category, I can't choose. I have to go the Rimmel Stay Matte and the Tarte Smoothing Balm. Honestly, these two are my favorite. That's if I'm picking favorites. I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!